Today's athletes draw on some of the biggest salaries out of the entire entertainment industry. Professional athletes achieve things that many people do not. They push their bodies to their absolute limits to continue to break records all over. Certain sports require specific skills, and the abilities most athletes have take years of sacrifice and determination to get to. Most athletes' performance will peak between the ages of 25 and 35. Unfortunately, the average retirement age for athletes is between the ages of 30 and 40. Mainly, retirement is brought on by injuries and the loss of abilities to perform. With that on their minds, professional, college, and even high school athletes may want to get an edge over the other players. I'm talking about performance-enhancing drugs, specifically anabolic steroids, growth hormone, and testosterone boosters. Performance-enhancing drugs have been banned in the sports world, and the use of them can lead to the end of an athlete's career. Many people believe that performance-enhancing drugs are considered an unfair advantage or cheating and dangerous to an athlete. I believe that those are not strong enough arguments to ban them, and they should be allowed, but under certain circumstances. If someone takes a steroid, they still need to practice just as hard as the other player. It does not suddenly give someone an extra talent. It allows their body to recover from an injury much quicker so they can continue to push themselves harder. Mark McGwire was stripped from his title in the Hall of Fame, and he admitted he used steroids. He used them for nearly a decade, he said, and he claimed to use them only to treat his injury from 1993. He did what he had to do so he can continue his career. Is it fair that the men in football, baseball, and many other sports are condemned for taking performance-enhancing drugs while Tiger Woods had LASIK eye surgery done on his eyes to give him perfect 20/15 vision? It's debatable. A different view could be models. Many models realize that they cannot look as good as they did when they were 20. So many get plastic surgery done or get implants so they can look appealing much longer. They're enhancing their performance in their sport, but yet it's still allowed. Critics say that there's a risk in their health and safety by taking these drugs. But isn't there a risk when a guy jumps a dirt bike 40 feet into the air, a football player runs into another player at full speed, or a NASCAR driver is trying to make a pass? Would they tell them that they cannot do those things anymore just because there's a risk? No, that's a sport. There are over 500,000 annual deaths related to cigarettes and alcohol. Do you guys know how many there are related to steroids? Only 3. No matter what, there are risks in everything that we do. Football players have pads and helmets, and cars have roll cages and seatbelts. What if we could control the use of performance-enhancing drugs? As men age, the production of testosterone and human growth hormone, HGH, dramatically decreases. This normally happens around the ages between 30 and 40, around the same time most athletes retire. If there were physicians who looked after the players and they were the ones to control the dosage of what's being used, then the risk would be much more under control. I think that just as athletes sign a liability waiver when they play, they should have a waiver for taking the drugs and agree that they can only have what their doctor prescribes them with, and only the doctor can give it to them. Then, being unfair and harmful would no longer be an argument. I believe that performance-enhancing drugs should not be banned from sports. There can be a regulation on what is being taken, and the athletes would be supervised by a physician. It would be much safer for them to be given the right amount, and there would be less misconceptions about the use of performance-enhancing drugs.